Let's begin with an overview of deafblindness. As you can see, according to the federal definition, you do not have to be completely deaf and blind. It is simply an auditory and visual loss that impacts communication and cognitive development. Many of your students who are deafblind will be served in a special day class and may have designated instructional services, also known as DIS, of orientation and mobility, a vision teacher, physical therapist, adaptive physical education, and in some cases, a one-on-one classroom assistant or an intervener, which is a person specifically trained to work with students who are deafblind. Most of your students who are deafblind will have residual hearing and/or vision. Some may also have a progressive hearing and vision loss, such as Usher syndrome, so they may be deaf and as they become older, lose their vision to the point that they are legally blind. Most of your students who are deafblind will also have additional disabilities. Students who are deafblind have to be explicitly taught and given exposure to things in their environment. They miss things that we pick up on through incidental learning. They oftentimes don't have the experiences and opportunities that hearing and sighted individuals have, so we have to remember to provide them a variety of experiences in and outside the classroom. Imagine, or better yet, put on a blindfold and put some cotton in your ears and try to do one thing that you normally do on a daily basis. How did it feel? And can you imagine that you still had a leg up on your students who were deafblind because you had the opportunity to do the activity with your sight and hearing and had the prior knowledge to go along with it? Students who are deafblind do not have this. It is something we have to create, expose, and teach. Other terms that you may hear instead of deafblindness are dual sensory impairment, which is the most common, or combined vision and hearing loss and dual sensory disability. It is important to remember also that students who face a dual sensory impairment may also have behaviors that can resemble autistic-like characteristics, such as rocking, flapping, and spinning. This most likely times is due to the dual sensory loss and not an additional disability of autism. Students may have a hearing loss in one or both ears. There are three different types of losses: a conductive, which is essentially damage to the outer and/or middle ear, a sensorineural, which is damage to the inner ear, or a mixed hearing loss, which is a combination of both a conductive and sensorineural hearing loss. Some students may also have a fluctuating hearing loss, which means that they could go from normal or a mild hearing loss to a more moderate to severe loss and back again over time. Here's a diagram that shows you the range of hearing loss in a visual format. Normal hearing is considered between 0 and 20 decibels. The yellow highlighted portion of this chart is considered the speech banana. This is the decibel range in which speech sounds occur. So for students who have a mild to moderate loss, they will not be hearing these sounds clearly, which in turn affects their speech production. The visuals of the truck, birds, etc. show at what decibels these sounds are made. This chart will help you determine what your student is able to hear by taking a look at the types of hearing loss they have. These are a few of the most common amplification systems you will run across when working with a student with a hearing loss. Hearing aids can be used with students who have a sensorineural hearing loss. An FM system is often an amplification system that is hooked up to the child's hearing aids or cochlear implant. You, as the teacher, will wear a microphone that amplifies the sounds to the child's hearing aids. A cochlear implant is becoming more and more common. It is a major surgery that a child undergoes, and it wipes out any residual hearing the child has. The child then goes through several mappings where it adjusts the sounds and frequencies. The child then undergoes intensive speech therapy to learn how to listen and speak. A child can receive an implant as young as 6 months. It is not as common for students who have additional needs to receive a cochlear implant. Bone conduction hearing aids are for students who have a conductive hearing loss. The aid is placed on the bone behind the ear, and the sound is vibrated onto that bone. Here you will find some of the most common vision losses for students who are deafblind. If you look on the internet, you will be able to find examples of what the child sees if they have one of the vision losses listed above. It's important to know how each kind of loss affects a student because that will help you determine what accommodations they will require, such as seating arrangement, contrast, glare, and so on and so forth. EdCode isn't specific about what the vision loss needs to be in order to qualify for a vision impairment or be deafblind. However, most vision teachers use the definition of legal blindness to determine eligibility for a vision impairment. Again, it is important to know what kind of vision loss your student has so that you can determine if they require any of the low vision devices listed above. Many students require a computer which enlarges the print of what they are reading, or they will need specialized materials in large print format. Some students will require their work to be on contrasting paper or a glare control device which takes the reflection of the light off the document or computer. In the 70s, the most common cause of deafblindness was rubella, but now that there's a vaccination, rubella cases have dropped dramatically. Now the leading cause of deafblindness in the United States is heredity.